Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Keeping It Real, episode 125. I'm your host, Jackkadis. How we doing? How are we doing? I'm doing pretty good. Rocking a blue tie. See if you can see it past the microphone. Hopefully you can. Sporting a smile because, like I said, it's episode 125 of Keeping It Real. And by the sound of it, we just might have timed this in such a perfect way that some guys are about to just arrive home right about now. But maybe not. Might just be hearing things, but I don't think that I am. I feel like I hear some footsteps coming up the stairs. It's 12:52, the eve of May 1st, technically now the morning of May 2nd. And here I sit doing Keeping It Real. Pretty tired, I have to say. Not, extremely, but enough. Enough to where it's like, yeah, I give this a 10. 10 out of 10. I've actually had a kind of a rough 48 hours. 24 hours ago, I was still awake. I decided, this is kind of why my 48 hours has been so rough. I just decided that all of a sudden I'm going to be drinking caffeine in these 48 hours. And it all starts with that first one bad decision, And it was that first Red Bull I had, probably 24 hours ago. And you should never have a Red Bull, period. But it's even worse if you decide to have a Red Bull and it's, almost 1 in the morning. But, that's what I did. And that's what happened. So I drank it. And I'm not going to lie, it tastes really freaking good. And it sends that rush down your whole mouth and that rush through your whole body. And then all of a sudden you're kind of awake. It's kind of scary because Red Bull will have your hands twitching and shaking. And that should never happen. Simply put, that should just never happen. So there I was. And I decided, let me go grab another Red Bull. So now you can kind of start to see where, I may have landed myself in this position of my stomach hurts. Solely through my own actions. You know what I'm saying? So I drink those Red Bulls and we're playing Minecraft. And eventually I died after a 3.5 hour run. And everyone went to bed, but I still have Keeping It Real to do. Matter of fact, I still had all my video stuff to do. And I went into my room, I was still awake, and then I was watching YouTube video, doing this, doing that, watch YouTube video. And all of a sudden, the sun's coming up, and I'm like, well, shit, fuck. So as the sun comes up, I'm like, okay, finally it's time to start doing what I do, right? So I start with my walk, then I shower, then I shave, then I read my book. Actually, I've been watching YouTube for so long that I finally decided, okay, now it's I'm bored of watching YouTube. It's finally starting to get stuff done. And I go, and I think I read my book, and I go on a walk. And I come home from the walk, and I don't shave, I don't shower, I kind of just fall right back into YouTube, Just watch some more YouTube. And at this point, I'm like, dude, I'm really screwing this for myself. Well, on my walk, I had filmed my clips, and funny enough, today's actually the day that I took the step of filming 24 clips. So now it's technically the second day because I did again because it was so late that I compounded both these days into one day. But yeah, now I do 24 shorts a day, and they should be on Instagram too. But what are you gonna do? So, what was I saying? Yeah, my body's kind of screwed, right? It's tired, it's awake, it's whatever. It's not good. So, I'm just thinking like, okay, gotta get my video stuff done. And eventually I do. I get it like 75%, 65% of the way done. And it's like 10:45 at this point, and these guys have their caps and gowns on because they have graduation ceremony. Which initially I said to them while I was out here, and they were walking past me, I can't make it. But then I'm thinking after I said that, I was like, I can make it, and I have to make it. At this point in time, I have work at 3 p.m. And so I go, I put my work on hold, and then it kind of sucks because like now it's going to be really late, but I got to see them graduate. And I go, I sit with the families, and I watch them graduate. And then before the ceremony ends, after I saw them both walk, I left, came back here, changed my shirt, clicked upload on a couple things, pushed my progress bar on April 30th's videos to like maybe 80%, 85%, and got a text from one of the guys that just graduated, and he was like, "Yo, are you coming to eat lunch with us? Tacos?" And I'm like, no thoughts about it, of course. Hop on my bicycle, and I kind of make a plan, right? Because on the way to the taco shop, I want to stop at work because I just got my shift covered. The guy that's covering my shift is going to be 30 to 45 minutes late. I want to make sure that's okay with the person that is going to have to wait on him, Augustine, it ended up being, and he was. I also brought the colored pencils from my room to give to my coworker Nikki because it was her birthday yesterday, and I don't use them. And I stopped at the ATM, withdrew $200 cash, 150 of which went into my New York saving, which I can see from right here. We pledged $100 like 3 days ago and $50 yesterday, I think. And so that brings our total up to just under $200 saved for New York City. And the other 50 was to begin paying off the debt that I have. The debt that I have given myself by sleeping in 2 days ago and missing my ServSafe certification class. Apparently that class cost $200, and I missed it. So I'm going to have to pay that back. So that leaves all the money, and then I had to pay someone to take my shift so I could come and celebrate graduation with these guys and get my video stuff done. It was work would not have worked. It was good that I weaseled out of my shift today because I'm doing this. But I had to pay the guy to cover my shift $75, and then in my search for someone to cover, I realized that I still owed someone for picking up one of my shifts a while ago, and he requested $40. So there's $115 down the drain, plus that $200, and I only have $75 left, and that's supposed to last me 2 weeks. My dad texted me about it too. He was like, "Yo, what's the deal?" Like, he said he's concerned for my financial situation. I kind of got upset reading that, and I sent him a text that might have, I hope he didn't read it too wrong, but the text basically said, "Yo, maybe you shouldn't pay attention to that because, I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying my best." I am. I'm trying my best. I genuinely am trying my best. I think I thought my check would be more. I barely worked. And I already pledged the money without thinking. I'm going to have to make $75 work. Today would be a great 2-week period to figure out the subscriptions that I've got going on. I need to cancel those. As well as, just keep on pushing with stuff. I still have to make my two. This is the second to last piece of film that I'm going to have to be doing for today. The other two are the 2 Instagram reels I got going on. One is I have to tell a joke, and the other one is my progress towards New York City. I feel like I want to throw up. My stomach really hurts, and I feel like I keep wanting to throw up, but we'll see. It's been a very long time since I threw up. I don't usually throw up. I'm not a throw-up kind of person, so we'll wait and we'll think and we'll see what ends up happening. yeah. Welcome to Keeping It Real. Sometimes, there's just not that much to say or to do, but you got to fill the silence with some kind of words because, hey, this is a show, and you talk and you run it, There's a standard, and there's, you got to put in your best effort, your best foot forward. I texted my brothers a picture of all of us as little kids today, and once again poked at them to see, my birthday's coming up in 2 months. I want to get all of the three of us together for my birthday. That's all I want this year. And I love them so much, man. I sent that, and it had to have been Ben. He gave me a thumbs down on my message. I'm like, what the hell, bro? That's pretty funny, though. He knew it was pretty funny. And then Ike's talking about he just got the keys to his new apartment. And I'm like, all right, looks like Ben and I are going to drive up to your new apartment. I'm going to have to save $1,000 somehow between now and the end of June to be able to afford a trip to Colorado. That is going to be something. Especially, saving wise, as it comes down to that's pretty insane that I'm able to part with $1,000 when, New York City is definitely not going to pay for itself. It'd be really nice if I can figure out college. Maybe check my for my reel today. Maybe I should check my email and see if I got an email back from an advisor about the fall of 2026 / setting up a meeting time for Manhattan University or maybe even Pace. I sent 2 of those emails. And, see what's kind of cracking, what's popping, what's going on. My stomach is really, it's like the tight kind of pain where it really hurts. It feels like it's that tight kind of sharp pain when maybe you hold in too many farts, right? I'll be all right. I went to the bathroom before I started recording. I'm waiting to hear them groan and scream from in there because someone died. I guess no one's died yet. My computer's hosting the world, so I'm in a 2 block tall by 1 block wide by 1 block long hole, so that I cannot be killed, touched, messed with, and I'm hosting just to see. I'm hosting. I should probably tell them to see if I can. Hey, Sam. You might want to wiggle my mouse and see if I need to be fed or anything. Okay. John! I'll check. According to Samuel Bamuel, you don't get hungry if you don't move. Speaking of Samuel Bamuel, he is done with school and done with work. He doesn't even start his new position at his job until July. So I heard that and got really excited because I thought maybe he'd just be hanging around. But he's going back to Asheville in a week, so I only have a week left with him. Zach's going to leave in the next couple days. I'm not sure what Jose is going to do, but we are looking at a time where I'm going to be very alone up in here. And I really have big hopes for what I could accomplish in this absence. I think that I love doing Keeping It Real outside. That's fantastic. I'd like to wake up at around 7 or 8 and just kind of have this be the first thing I do in my day. I think that could be, that could be huge. That could be giant to create that routine, to eliminate situations like these where I keep falling asleep and I'm super grumpy and stressed and trying to figure out what time is this and that. It's not really where you want to be. And I think I'm exerting more energy by doing this way than I would be if I just kind of made that big jump and took that grab at that ever so elusive, morning routine. I think that might pay off quite well in any sort of long term. That was my cell phone. So that's where my head's at. I'm going to keep working my job. The next time I'll be off is going to be, I think, mid-June. I have a dentist appointment in Charlotte. I'm going to have to go back for that. And then at the end of the month is our trip to Colorado. At the end of June, that is. And then after that should just be my birthday at the 31st. And then comes August, and Jose will come back. We'll have 2 random roommates. In between now and then, important events like helping Zach move into his apartment. Hopefully that falls on some sort of off day that I have. And, sometime in the next 2 or 3 months, helping Sam and Ella move into their new apartment. I am actively giving things away. I'm actively giving things away in my room that I don't need. Or that I don't need, yes, and also that just they can't come with me to the city. One thing that's helpful about this push every day is that it's something that I'm continuing to become conscious about, and it's like a muscle that I'm working. So I realize when I'm sitting in my room surrounded by all these things and objects and shit that, like, it's too much stuff. And I love to give gifts, and I love to, for people to take things away that were mine that I wasn't using, that I know will be in a better place with them. And today I just let that giant JBL speaker go with my buddy Elijah, who loves music. And I couldn't have found a better home. He's actually probably going to give me a couple dollars for it, he said. I just told him, pay whatever you think. Or, he might not, but that's fine. It doesn't, it's not a big deal. So that's sort of like, what's happening, man. That's what's going on. I got items to disperse. I got dreams to chase, goals to achieve. And, as I push for this New York City, I find myself talking about it more and more, and I think about how it sounds when I talk about it. And yeah, it's just something I'm noticing. I don't know. What am I going to write as for a joke today? I'm not feeling very funny. But that's the point, man. You got to write a joke. You got to write a joke. So what am I going to say? Probably something like, I have no idea. Probably something like, I don't know. Let's think. I have no idea what to write or what to say. I liked my joke yesterday. I think it was pretty good. It's hard because you tell this sort of, you start talking about it sort of thing, and you have to kind of imagine where the audience's minds may go. And one aspect of humor, I'm pretty sure, is being unexpected. I've seen this thing once where it's like random does not equal funny. And that's true. It's like, it's not all about just like how random you can be, but like there is this like element of surprise. Like one of my favorite jokes that I've heard in a long time, it's like someone telling, it's Joe Rogan explaining to someone one of Theo Von's jokes that he loves, and he said, Theo says, so my cousin got bit by a gay, I got this cousin, right? He got bit by a gay guy. So it starts with a cousin, and then you think about whatever you think about when you think about your cousins. And then all of a sudden it's like got bit by a gay guy. You weren't expecting that. So now you kind of have to think about your cousin getting bit by a gay guy. And like he pauses and you wait for him to, and you kind of like make these rough conclusions, and you might arrive somewhere close on the door of like, okay, if you got bit by a gay guy, maybe the joke is like, he's going to become gay, or like he's a vampire, or maybe like you don't really know what Theo's going to say, or, and then it's just a 2-word, we'll see. Got bit by a gay guy. I mean, I guess we'll see. And that's just so funny because it's like you didn't expect him to be so like, it's like almost like obvious in Theo's world that like he got bit by a gay dude. Like, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Like, like it is so hilarious. It is so hilarious. So yesterday I told a joke, like I'll tell a joke, and people will laugh at it, and I'll be like, "Ooh, that's a good, like I should use that for my Instagram one today." And yesterday I told my boss Christina is explaining to me we got to count these frozen bread loaves, and I'm like, okay, like I'm not really locked in too hard, but like she's trying to explain it to me, and I'm just trying to like I'm doing what I normally do my job wise, and I think she's sort of like asking me for confirmation, like, can you count this? Like, it should be around 168 or less. Like, can you count these for me? Just kind of like drilling that final info into my head before I start the task that she's asked of me. And I look at her and I'm like, oh yeah, 168, I could probably count to like maybe even like 300. And it rolled off my tongue. And I paused. And then she got it. And it was a good joke. Because it's like, the expectation is like, it's that joke's funny because it's like, can you count to this number? And then like, here comes me like shrugging off like, oh yeah, of course I can. Which is like, you start to perk your eyes up because who brags about counting, right? And then I come in with the line where it's like, yeah, dude, if I wanted to, I could probably count to like maybe even like 300. And I think it's good numbers wise because it's like less than half. But it's like, it's funny because if you can count to 300, you can count. It's just like, it's a punch where you realize like, holy shit, this is hilarious. I can laugh at this guy, kind of like you laugh at Theo. Like it would take kind of a stupid person to say that their cousin had gotten bit by a gay dude, and like he's kind of waiting to see what happens. Like that's kind of stupid. Like, and I want to invite the laugh at me. So after I drop that punchline, yeah, man, I could probably count probably even like 300 maybe. I just don't say anything. I go silent. And that is a key part of the joke. There's like 5 seconds of silence after my punchline where I kind of just look at the camera like this. And that I think is a key element to the humor of the situation, because it's like I said that and I'm sort of like waiting for you to get it. But I'm not waiting for you to get it so much as I'm like waiting for you to say something. Like it could spin either way. Like in this world where I'm this character that I'm playing, I'm kind of just like kind of low key flexing that I can count to 300. So maybe I'm waiting for you to be like, nice job. So my face is kind of like, you know what I mean? Or like, I don't like there's my character could form so differently depending on so many different people's point of view, that it's just the silence carries a lot. Like I allow you to think now when I'm silent. And I think that honestly, I think yesterday is one of been my best jokes yet. So what do we say today? I could try it again with the number thing. I could try something else. Like I could try just retell that joke a different way. I could be like, you ever try to tell the waitress how many people are in your party and you don't even know? So you're counting in your head, but you're kind of just making up numbers, and you get to 5, See, me personally, I could probably count to maybe 10. Like, I just think that's just like really funny because it's like, see me, I'm gonna get rid of the me personally. See me personally, I could probably count to like. Instead, I'm gonna say I'm not too bad in the IQ department. I think I'm not too bad in the IQ department. I could count to 10, maybe 11. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe let's leave it. Let's try something else. What is funny? What is funny? Woo! Struggling not to fall asleep. Once this stops, I got the 2 Instagram reels to shoot, and then I got to edit everything together. You know, like my night is. There's more than 30 minutes left in the episode, but I probably have about an hour left of work, and that blows. But at least we got caught up. At least we got it caught up. Hopefully I can wake up tomorrow and bang all this stuff out before I go to work. That would be a blessing. I work with my girl Nikki tomorrow. I need to get I need to send a text. I got the number of a man named Al, whom I really like. He's the kind of guy that, you know, every time he walks in the door, he's ready to talk with you for hours. And I had this new show. It's called the JackKadis Show, and I think he'd be perfect on it. So he gave me his number. Said he'd be interesting. And I got to text him. You know, I got the number of a gentleman that is training for a marathon. And I never texted him. And I feel like maybe I feel bad about that. I'm not sure. But just something I thought about just now. You know, I never texted him. So what is there to tell? What stories are going on? I could tell you. Did I already tell you? I don't think I ever actually told you about the gentleman that stole. All right, so let's start the story about 3.5 weeks ago. This short, kind of compact, wide, black dude comes into Jersey Mike's, running for DoorDash. And I'm standing at the register. I'm feeling, you know, sometimes I get a little bit like cocky at my job, I guess you could say. And like, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm greeting everyone that comes in. My voice is very loud and projected. And I'm like very much like in control of the store. At least it feels like, right? And here he comes and I'm like, what's the name? And I hand it to him. And I'm like talking to someone else too that I'm ringing out on the register. And he hits me with a like, oh, you got to be from New York. And you guys know what a comment like that will do to me. So I was like, stop it, man. I wish, you know, are you? And I made some small talk with him. And then I handed him his food finally. And he was like, that one too. And so I gave him the thing next to him, thinking that, genuinely believing that he had a DoorDash to pick up. And he also had this order that he had placed for himself. So there he goes with the 2 bags. And then later on, someone comes in looking for their order, and I'm like, that's weird. It's not there. I got to remake it. You know, not thinking too hard about it. I didn't think too hard about it. Just remade it. Now, like a week ago, right, comes in and he says the same thing again. And I kind of remember that in my mind, but I'm still just kind of flattered that he said it. Much shorter of an interaction this time. Takes the DoorDash, and then he's like, that one too. And I'm like, I got you, man. And I guess I didn't think about it. Like, this is probably also his order. And there he goes. And then 20 minutes later, a gentleman comes in and he's like, "This is my name." His name was Kenneth McGraw. And I'm like, I just gave Kenneth McGraw to this guy that said he was Kenneth McGraw. And then I just realized, bam, this guy stole from me. And he did it twice. I remember he already had done this. Because he used the same damn line. Yeah, you sound like you're from New York City. And he must have seen how, like, he must have, like, I've been there. It's very easy to take advantage of people. When you understand systems and, you move in certain ways, you realize, like, I can steal this, or I can tell this person I'm this person and no one's going to bat an eye. And there's places to use that, like, sometimes if, like, there's a lot going on in a certain area and you just want something like a water cup or a soda, something like that, then it can make sense sometimes, just to kind of scoot ahead, get what you want when no one's even noticing, because, you won't bother anybody's time, nothing like that. But I really felt like I had been taken advantage of in the Kenneth McGraw situation, because we had somebody that wasn't too fast on the grill, and Kenneth had to wait like an extra 15 minutes for his sandwich when he had placed the order in advance 15 minutes prior, and that's frustrating. That's frustrating. And there's a couple ways that this might have gone down, right? Maybe this DoorDash guy honestly thought that there was a chance that I was just, giving him free food because we were homies, and I was going to remake it and just, like, who cares? But I clock in for work 2 days ago, and I'm by the register, and the morning people haven't left yet, so it's like my boss and some seasoned people that work there, and this guy is here talking with this red shirt on, and I'm like, yo, didn't you tell me that I sound like I was from New York? And he was like, yeah, it sounds like something I'd say. And then I was like, dude, you stole from me like twice. Didn't even think about it. I should have not said that. Okay? I should have not said that. Because to begin this argument, reasoning, recap, I actually was in full control both times. It's not like he can grab the order. I handed him the order. I stole from myself. I should have thought about it. Like, are you really Kenneth McGraw? Like, is this really your order? And I know it's silly to think that, because because people don't take advantage of you like that. People are like, everyone is for the most part honest and good. And if you hand someone an order that's not theirs, they'll end up telling you, like, hey, this isn't my name. But regardless of if it was my fault or not at the end, I just looked this guy dead in his face and accused him of stealing. And I'm like totally in like data collection mode, right? Because there's a little part of me that's not even really totally sure that it's him. Like, is this really you? And he looks at me, he's like, no, man, I didn't steal nothing. And I can hear it in his voice, he's a little bit pissed right off the get-go. And I'm like, why is he pissed off the get-go? And then I'm like, dude, this is 100% him. And I'm like, well, why are you getting upset, man? Now I know it's you. And I shouldn't be doing this, because then he starts to scream at me, and my coworkers take his side. My manager calls me away from the register, so I leave the situation. And he's yelling at me, and I'm talking to my coworker like, no, but he did though. He stole from me twice, like, and I told him like, I'm not talking to you. And it's just like, it's embarrassing to tell the story, because that was totally wrong for me to do. Who gives a shit about stolen sandwiches? Who cares? Who cares? Nothing, and I mean nothing, is worth any sort of risk to my safety. I know the adrenaline spikes up, and I think like, oh, he's not gonna get a fucking gun from his car. And if he did, like, I'd handle it. I know what's up. Like, maybe he waits for me to get off work and tries to, I could beat the shit out of this guy. It's ridiculous to have those thoughts. No violence. No violence. And I'm my manager, Christina, I felt like realized that it wasn't worth trying to give me any lessons and just kind of let me rant to her a bit. And I was just like, he stole from me twice. And then, he finally left. And I'm talking to my buddy Augustine about it. And Augustine's like very up in arms, like, you never do that. Never do that. Never accuse someone of stealing. And I'm trying to tell Augustine, like, I'm not, he did. Like, he stole. Like, it was because of him. This person had to wait. And, like, he did it to me twice. And it wasn't until this older, rather obese gentleman walked up and wanted to purchase a 3-pack of cookies. So I'm ringing him up, and I realize he's staring at me. So I look up and I meet his eyes. And he sort of just locks me in, and he's like, listen, dude. I wrote this down. It's on some paper in there, but I think I can remember. It's about 3 lines that sum the whole thing up. He says, who gives a fuck? Who really even gives a fuck? Is the first thing he said. And then he said, nothing is worth your safety. And then he said, all that matters is you get home. Okay, you just got to worry about you. And this sort of snapped me out of all of it. And I realized, how stupid I was. Because, I'm all worried about, like, in my mind, it's like the integrity of it all. And, like, I'm not just going to let that fly. Like, you have to understand that you can't just walk in here and take food from me. And, like, I'm going to stand on what I believe in. And what I believe in is, like, yo, don't be a dick. Like, this shit doesn't belong to you. But it's funny because I could definitely see myself doing that sort of thing. Walking into Chipotle and just saying that a bag of food is mine and walking out and thinking, like, score. Because that's just part of the job, is just waste and remaking food. Like, I could totally make that make sense in my head. But I guess, I took it personal when I had to remake, or when Kenneth McGraw waited. I took it and it's never personal. You just do your best at your job. And stay out of the way. And it doesn't have to be like this negative thing where you stay out of the way, like, oh, you never stand up for yourself. No, man. No. But you can stand up for yourself in different ways. Like, I could stand up for myself by eating better and sleeping better and rolling my back out before work. That's standing up for myself. I don't have to become some, like, hero and then create this conflict. Like that. It's not like, I find myself maybe even thinking, maybe like deep down I'm a little bit hungry for these moments, because, like, my heart starts to light up and, like, I feel like adrenaline is produced and flooded throughout my body, and I kind of, like, light up, right? And this guy's yelling at me, screaming, like, you never convinced me. You say I'm stealing, man. I work every day. And in my head, I'm like, I got you, bitch. You mad at me? You mad because I caught you stealing? Yeah, everybody knows. My coworker, I know my coworker is trying to tell me to back off, but he knows I'm right. Everybody here knows I'm right. You stole. All these customers are looking at him. And I'm, like, ready. I'm like, what's coming next? What's coming next? Telling him, like, I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, trying to get him even more pissed off because I don't like this guy, That's just totally wrong. It's totally wrong. Totally wrong. I let a man steal $1,000 million from me in 1,000 million different times before I ever incite anger like that in someone else again on purpose. That adrenaline rush comes naturally from other things. Dude, my stomach just lit up. I haven't felt a sharp pain like that on my stomach in a long time. I had to stop talking. But anyway, the gentleman's name that came and kind of shook me out of it and let me know that nothing's worth my safety and all that matters is I get home safe. He's walking out of the store, and I was very just, like, mouth shut listening to him. And when he finally, like, finished paying for the cookies, he's walking out, and I say, sir, what's your name? His name is Scott. I said, my name's Jack. And I grabbed the pen, and I grabbed a order sheet, and I wrote down his name, I underlined it twice, and then wrote down the 3 bullet points of the things that I had said so I wouldn't forget. And Scott, what Scott told me and said to me ultimately led me to, like 5 minutes later, let Augustine know that he was right. And I felt good about letting Augustine know that he was right because, I feel like Augustine and I are close as coworkers, and I've taken him to a Hurricanes game, and I value the guy as like a relationship in my life. So I feel like I was very quick to like hear what he was saying, but dismiss it because of how he was saying it or how I thought the situation was. But because of Scott, I was able to tell Augustine, unprompted, I just said, hey man, you know what? You're dead right. And then just not say anything else. It's beautiful how you can do that and mean that, and that's all you got to do, and it's just 3 words, and you're like, it shifts. You make the turn. Oh my God, my stomach hurts so bad. What do I gotta fart? If I gotta fart, then just fart, bro. Like, why is this gotta hurt so bad? I wonder if they died yet. Still alive? Yeah. All right, I'm coming. I'll be there in like 45 minutes. Man, it is great to be out here on this porch. It feels fantastic. It's the start of summer. It's a great April day. Today, I was fortunate enough to spend some time with the man who I have called my dearest and closest friend over the past 2.5, 3 years. His family. There was one time where I stayed over at his house in Asheville and didn't even get to spend that much time with his family. I'm so grateful for that. They're such awesome people. And they're so easy to laugh with. That's one of the things that I love about Sam's family is they love to laugh. I really enjoy my time with them. And I'm really going to miss living with Sam and Zach. It's just going to be me and Jose. And Jose's going to be probably home in Asheville. I got to ask him what he's thinking. I think, it's going to be okay. I have this job with these people. I have trips planned. And I have the ability to, ask the people that I know will be in town to hang out every so often and just keeping it real done. Just keep on doing what I'm doing here. Here's something worth mentioning. The numbers on my YouTube page are way up. We are, in every metric except watch time, we are, at an all-time high. We're about to hit 700 subscribers. We in this past month did 100,000 views. When I just celebrated 100,000 views total on the channel like 2 months ago. We used to do 20,000 to 30,000 views every month, and we used to do 10,000 views a month. And in April, we did over 100,000 views, and for May, we're set to do even more, 150,000 views, maybe even 200,000. I did some rough Googling, and I'm not necessarily sure how all this stuff works because a lot of these views and watch hours come from shorts, which I think are weighted differently. But I think, when this channel becomes monetized, I'm set up for about $100 of profit every month. And that's huge. That is huge. And I'm not sure how accurate that is necessarily. That might not be accounting for a lot of details, and that's that. But this is a good starting point. If every single day you look at like, okay, what if this is my starting point? Well, I gotta say, I feel like the board is taut and springed and ready to burst. Like what this thing that I'm doing, I felt like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I started to sort of steer this ship that we're all on together here towards this idea of monetization and money and a career path for me. And we've made extreme progress in those months since I made that turn with that wheel. And that's, it can't be gone without, it can't go without, I got to bring that up on Keeping It Real with you. Dude, are you hearing that? I'm just farting like crazy. But that's, that's the state of the union. That's how we're rocking and rolling. That's how Keeping It Real fits into everything. That's how, it looks like we're moving forward. I just thought, if you guys would like to hear the update from me, I think people see my page differently than I do, right? Because I see it every day and I watch these numbers. And I think it's very notable when I feel like I see an increase in numbers, because other people, time will move differently as it pertains to my YouTube channel. They have their own goals in life that they're doing, and they might just, catch a glance or an idea of how many subscribers or views that I'm getting every so often. And to them, I'm always going to be going up, and it kind of is very subjective to each person when it comes to their perception of my growth. Like, what do they think about me? Do they know me very well? Do they see what I do every day? Do they, what did it look like last time they tuned in or thought about it? And, for some people, it may look like I'm sort of stagnant or even going backwards, depending on when they, became involved in this and when they, this, that, and this and that. And to others, it may look like I'm making much more progress than I really am. And I don't know. I'm just trying to be level-headed about it. And just to see like where am I really at, and where I'm really at is in a place that it seems like things are picking up and I'm making progress. And a lot of that is due to me just kind of deciding, okay, now's the day where I put a little bit more work on my plate. A week or two ago, I started. I think just a week and a half ago, I upped my short count every day from 4 to 12, and this morning I upped my short count from 12 to 24, fulfilling finally this prophecy, this idea, this task that I had written in stone for myself about a month ago, where I envisioned my channel to have one short scheduled to release every single hour of every single day, and staggered in such a way that I filmed 24 as a batch in one day, which I did this morning actually on a walk. So I even have the added benefit of like I'm walking while I'm talking, and I think that adds level of engagement, and you want to pay attention to someone more if it seems like they're going somewhere, So, and that's what this all is, we deal in attention here, and it's very much like if I was in the agricultural industry and it was like harvesting season and I was big on corn because America, does all this high fructose corn syrup, I would be dealing in corn, right? But with YouTube and videos and an audience and all this and a platform, I'm dealing in attention. And people are really quick to kind of look at that in a dystopian light. And I can understand that. I can see that. But it's also very helpful, I think, because it just provides some structure to the whole idea. And that's what I do here. I try my best to grab and hold attention. It's not easy, and it's a good thing to work towards. It's a very there's tons of different ways to achieve it, and I can always switch up what I do and how I do it. At the end of the day, it's just like where I buy my corn and how I sell it. So I'll film these 24 shorts, and I schedule them over the course of the next 24 days, and I do that every single day. And so it happens that every single hour, a short is coming out from a different day, and it's fresh and it's new. And anyone that's subscribed to me is in for a new treat. It'll look like to someone that is subscribed that I am sort of doing a lot in each day, and it'll look like I am all over the place. Like one day I have this color tie on, I'm wearing this, no shirt, it's night, it's day. Every time a short comes out, you never know where I'll be or what I'll be saying. And then as it pertains to each day, you can if you're someone that is getting all my stuff shown to their feed frequently, like you're someone that the algorithm decides is interested in what I make, you could fall into sort of a comfortable understanding of what my stuff looks like day to day. There's the hashtag in the description that groups all the posts together, and depending on what times you use your phone and scroll reels, you might end up seeing clips from the same day over the course of that 24-day span, and that's interesting. That's a pattern, and humans work off patterns. A big pattern or a big human trait that I'm trying to exploit, right, is facial recognition. That's why I started adding my face to the Keeping It Real thumbnails, because I really think that like the more I can put my face on the internet, the better. It's sort of like a act now, think later type of deal, because a lot of people would be like, oh, I just don't think what I make is good enough, right? Like I don't think I'm ready to like, do that sort of thing. Well, it's like if you're not ready now, you're never going to be ready. And what came first, the chicken or the egg, the audience or the quality? I think that as long as I'm being honest with myself and striving for quality every single day, which lately I really have been. I've been using this nice mic when I can for my 10-minute segments. I added the drone footage for one of the 2 Instagram reels. I split Instagram reel into 2, and now they're defined categories. And then the 10-minute videos have drone introductions. I have been working to take just look back and say like, this is before I did this, and this is now I do this, and I'm doing it for the sake of what is quality, and I feel like I'm trying to shake off this idea that improvement can only come in the presence of an extreme motivation, because that's kind of how this channel was birthed in a sense. You have me in a time where I felt like I needed something, and for one reason or another, an extremely motivative wave, attitude, emotional state sort of washed over me, and everything lined up to where I'm all of a sudden posting YouTube videos. And the way that I felt about them was extreme, It was like this camera was precious. Every time I filmed, I was hyper analyzing how I used it, trying to decide the rules, like, am I going to be in the videos, am I not? How can I imitate my hero, like Casey Neistat? How can I make something people want to watch? How can I continue to do this every day? How? And I'm just super motivated. And, it's been a year now. And as time goes on, it's sort of like, okay, well, what is this really? How does this play out? How do we go about this? What do I want for this now? How has that changed? How might it change in the future? Okay, I'm collecting all this data, and now I'm thinking, all right, so when it comes to my actions, what does that look like? Well, my thoughts are just as much actions as my literal physical actions are, and how I think about this matters, and how I think about it is like every day you have the opportunity to get a little bit better at what you do. And if you continue to tell yourself, okay, well, just pushing something out every day, that counts as getting better, then that counts as getting better. That's what you tell yourself, But if you look at the industry and you look at how beautifully people have perfected and created their crafts, their, curated their content to their audience, amassed years of experience on this website, you understand that no one has gotten to where they've gotten by simply saying, I just got to keep going. It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of I just got to keep going, and I got to truly want to be better every day. I got to act on it. And it's not like I have to be motivated to be better. It's I have to be better. It's part of the discipline. It's part of the It's part of the beauty of it, because this is an opportunity that you don't actually get in a lot of jobs, in a lot of spaces. That's not true. You always have the option to go above and beyond, but it can be almost frowned upon in certain settings, or it can be like there can be like these weird pushbacks in certain areas, and things can happen. But like with YouTube, it's almost like the only option. Like, you want to survive, you want to make this viable, then you're going to have to fight with the big dogs. And the big dogs push themselves every day to improve. If you work at Jersey Mike's, it's going to be a lot of that, like, okay, showing up every day is sort of a form of improvement. Just try your best, get out there. And, you'll get a couple raises here and there, and, you'll be promoted and all that, but you could very easily, the ceiling is like, the ceiling with that sort of thing is much more tough to break through as you go up the levels, because it's a pyramid. But with YouTube, for some reason, it feels less like a pyramid and more like a wine glass. Like, you start at the bottom where it's just you and your thoughts and what you're capable of. And if the radius of the wine glass is directly correlated to your success, that's what you get when you start, And as you push upwards, the radius increases. And you realize that it's a direct correlation between how hard you work and how much you receive in return. And like, once again, that correlation exists in office jobs and fast food and everything else like that, but you're not, I don't know. It's a mentality, because I'm not going to say it's a pyramid. Like, it's not really like gray and sad at Jersey Mike's. Like, if it were to happen the way that it could happen, I could definitely have this exact same mentality about fighting to be a little bit better at Jersey Mike's every single day. I mean, I think it starts with the intense motivation, right? And I had that intense motivation when I worked at a car wash when I was in high school. And I realized that the motivation wears off. That's what I learned from that job, is eventually you lose the motivation. But I think, imagine what could have happened if I had already learned that lesson before and I stuck around after that motivation went away. You never know. That car wash could have been my home for life. I was making great money. That car wash could have springboarded me to New York City. I was making great money. I'm making a third of what I make at Jersey Mike's. I didn't have that same intense motivation when I started Jersey Mike's, but I am trying to apply myself when it comes to just getting a little bit better every chance that I can get every day. Because, it doesn't matter what my future plans are. If I plan to move, it doesn't matter. It's appreciate the now and do what you can today. And realize that, dang, your farts are super stinky. I had Mexican food. Wow. It is crazy. Couple more seconds and this episode's going to be over. It's a good episode for how tired and in pain and all that I was. We pushed through. We'll see what we can do tomorrow. I think that I'm going to set my alarms and try and get up. Wake up tomorrow morning. And we'll see if I can manage that. We'll see if I can do that. I think that's going to be my ticket to New York City tonight. It's going to be, my alarms are set for 8 a.m. And for the sake of me going to New York City, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I think that's a good idea. We still haven't come up with a joke. I guess we're going to have to do that on the spot. It is what it is. But, we'll see what we can come up with. I think I got my joke for today. I think I'm going to act kind of crazy and say, like, they put chemicals in the milk to make our fingernails grow longer so that the people that manufacture fingernail clippers can profit. I think that's funny. I just came up with that one off the head. All right, this episode's over. Thanks so much for watching. It's been Keeping Your Reps at 125. We are a quarter of the way to 200. Isn't that crazy? The time just doesn't stop going. Thanks for watching, listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.